Hey guys, um, this is going to be just me responding with my thoughts on Nivea's new ad, Look Like You Give a Damn, um, and with the tag Re-civilize yourself. I feel like it's just really appropriate for me to respond because I'm pretty much the archetype of the man that they're calling uncivilized, light-skinned man with an afro and a beard. That's me. So this video could go on forever. There's so many implications about this, and I have such a knowledge just with a lot of my interests in college has been race and advertising, and just the two of these things just so perfectly butting heads for there to be so much to talk about and so much to delve into about all the implications that this ad has. But I want this to focus around Jesus. But I'll still be talking about a lot of other grievances that I have with this entire situation. The first being, I have a lot of problems with advertising. We just have a world where our culture completely defines civilization. It defines what's civilized. It defines what's appropriate appearance. It defines what's proper demeanor by what advertisers tell us in order to sell us things that we don't need. And the way we go about selling people things that you don't need is by telling people they're not good enough without this. I have a huge problem with advertising that works that way, which seems to be the way most advertising works. That's not okay to tell people you are not good enough unless you have this product. At first, when I saw this ad, I was just completely offended and completely blown away that this went through the process that I know it has to go to before it can even become an ad, and no one put up giant red flags this is wrong, because it's very, very offensive. Because I wanted to make a video about it, but I was in such a fleshy place, and I was like, let me seek the Lord on this. And the question that I just kept getting is, why are you offended? And I asked you the same question, yes, we can both agree, all of us can agree that this ad is extremely offensive. And the question that I want to ask and want to kind of work through what I got to answer is, why are you offended by it? Because I think a lot of the reason that we're offended by anything is that we're insecure in our identity, or there is some type of jab at our identity or some type of jab at who we are, because this ad is a direct attack on my identity, to be honest. I see a lot of people that are offended by it, and they're girls, or they're just black males, but they don't have afros, or they don't have beards, or they're just black in general. And I think it is an attack on all of these people, honestly. This is very offensive to an entire race or just an entire culture of people. But it's such a personal thing for me because I'm that archetype. I look just like the face that the guy is throwing away. But what is your identity, and are you secure enough in that so that if anyone attacks it, you won't be offended? And when the Lord asked me this and I started working through it, I was just blown away by what I got, because it's he just kept saying have I ever called you uncivilized? I call you so many things, and uncivilized is not one of them. I call you friend, I call you child, you're redeemed, you're all of these things, and it's not uncivilized. So it's the question is, what power does Nivea have over controlling your identity that the Lord does not? Or what power does Trim Spa have over your identity that the Lord does not? What power does this brand have over your identity that the Lord does not? The Lord has given us everything that we need and made us so secure in that He created us exactly the way that we are. We should rejoice in that. Embrace your hair, embrace your beard. I do, and I'm not going to let Nivea tell me that I shouldn't. And I'm not going to try to deny that Nivea has some accountability. They need to be held accountable for the things that they're saying, because thankfully I have this firm, deep-rooted identity in the Lord where I'm so pleased that He is pleased in the way that He made me. But I know that there are other people that aren't, that would be easily torn down by this, that will feel attacked and will feel offended and will feel a need to second-guess themselves, to try to build an identity that fits what advertisers tell us we need to fit. And that's wrong. Like there's a responsibility that all advertisers have in basically feeding crap to people. But I also believe that we're responsible for how we respond. And I don't think that we can respond just angrily and by saying, I'm offended. Because honestly, if we respond like that, we have to ignore all of the ways that we've offended other people and all of the ways that we've offended the Lord. Like when I was praying, the Lord was just like, have I been offended by you and your transgressions? Was I so offended by you when you denied me that there was no room for redemption or no room for forgiveness in your heart? Like, what if, this is the Lord telling me, like, what if I was so offended by you when your heart spit in my face that I didn't give you a chance for forgiveness and redemption? And that just blew my mind, because I have offended God in many, many, many a way. So who am I to just hold this giant grudge against Nivea for offending me in something that I'm already secure in, which would be my identity and who I am. Yeah, and that's the root of this, like, identity, and what are we going to be offended by? What will we let ourselves be offended by? What is going to uproot us in the identity that the Lord gives us, and who we are and how he made us, which is so crazy beautiful. I'm just in such a great place of joy for the Lord just revealing, like, the beauty in people. Like, he's been showing me so much how to see the beauty he sees in people. And if you pray anything, like, pray to see people the way the Lord sees people. It will give you a heart for everyone. It's awesome. Yeah, and I guess just a few other things I wanted to touch on is just the way the world and advertising and all of that, it builds like an entire worth and entire identities based on outward expression, rather than like inward condition of your heart. Like, particularly this ad, like, being civilized is a matter of outward expression. That's absolutely foolish, because I'm sure there's many an uncivilized Wall Street executive in a suit with a clean cut, nicely shaven, designer jewelry, designer shoes, that is doing horrendous things to people all around the world. Like, even though I'm secure that this is the hair the Lord gave me, this is the facial hair the Lord gave me, this is the skin color the Lord gave me, this is the height, this is the whole body the Lord gave me, I'm secure in that. My identity is not in that. My identity is in Christ alone, period. Anything else the world tries to tell me, anything else I try to tell myself is a lie, it's deception, and I cannot build a world around any identity outside of Christ. And so many people are listening to media, they're listening to these music artists, they're listening to these advertisers that are telling them, build your identity around how you look, build your identity around who you sleep with, build your identity around the people that you hang out with, build your identity around this, this, and this, and this. And none of those things are Jesus Christ, who is our only truth. He's all that we have. And I'm just really passionate that once people start to build an identity in Christ, they will find freedom. And I just want to share that freedom, because there's so much bondage that comes from the lies in the world and I know this because I've been a part of them. And I thank the Lord for redeeming me, and I thank the Lord for showing me the way that I've been a part of that lie by telling people, you need to look like this. Like, I'm really into fashion, and telling people you need to be thin, or telling people, like, you need to dance this way, or telling people your photography needs to be this way. All of that is a lie. The only thing that we need to look at for a gauge of what we should be doing and how we should be living our lives is the Bible. It is Jesus Christ. And I just feel like people need to be free from the deception that anyone else would burden them with. Like, the Lord will carry that burden. Like, we don't have to have that burden, because the Lord has set us free in who he wants us to be. And I just urge any of you, like, I've just started asking the Lord, like, constantly, like, Lord, who am I? And it's going to take you on a crazy, crazy ride. Like, he's shown me so, so much about who I am and the things that I need to accept and the things that I need to prune. Because there are a ton of junk that the Lord's just, like, clearing out of my heart. Just, like, get this out of here, break this off, but molding me into, like, the vision of who he created me to be. And it's absolutely awesome. So really just ask the Lord, like, who am I? You'll be blown away. Because like a lot of our identity problems come from trying to build who we are, or come from trying to let other people tell us who we are. And we have so much influence from everything that we've encountered in our whole lives, from teachers, from school, from the media, from music, from our friends, that it's almost impossible to try to build who we are, discover who we are on our own. Like, we need the Lord to tell us, to sift through all of the junk, to sift through all of the lies, to sift through all of our insecurity, all of our feelings of not being accepted, and to find acceptance in Jesus. Like, we need him to tell us that. And it's going to take you on a ride, and it's going to be the most freeing thing ever. And I'm just saying this from experience, just from my own testimony. And honestly, like, I feel like a lot of my life verse, even in the last video, I just keep getting revelation from it, is Matthew 10:39. He who finds his life shall lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake shall find it. So, just to get it back to Nivea, if any of you are feeling offended by this Nivea ad, what part of your life are you holding on to that Nivea is trying to uproot? And I feel like a lot of it would be your identity in the way that you look, or your identity in your hair. It's like, yes, accept those things, they're beautiful. Don't let anyone tell you that they're not. But don't build an identity around that, because that's not Christ. Christ alone is our identity. Everything else we just accept and love. But that's all we have to hold on to. So I just urge you to hold on to that. And just to say to Nivea, this is offensive. Like, I was offended. But I forgive you. Because I've offended many a person before, and I hope that they forgive me. And I've offended God, and he has forgiven me. Like, my main goal of this video wasn't like to tear Nivea down, but just to point out, like, giant red flag. But then to offer just a solution, which is Jesus Christ. Like, we're not helpless. We're not helpless in this at all. So never be made to feel helpless by any ad that you see, any song that you hear, any video that you watch. Like, don't feel helpless, because Jesus will help you. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. I really am. Love you guys. Peace.